Good evening, friends. I am sorry, it's just been a long week. Last week I started with just having a very squeaky cold and sort of lasted all week feeling pretty nasty the entire week. I still am a little bit congested. I guess fall has officially fallen, especially in the Bowlby household. But anyway, I'm back now. Now that I'm done playing with my Dell webcam, sound effects. You don't want to know what I was doing with the sound effects. It was interesting. Just kept prattling on in different ways. Personally, I don't think I like listening to the sound of my voice normally, let alone on the webcam, and especially not in 15 different ways that it offers. I wanted to show you one brief thing real quick before we get to lesson 2. This is Kenneth Gregory Bowlby. Shoe. Yeah, it's Aaron's shoe. Look at the size of these feet. Okay? Seriously. I love my children. They're so much fun. But really? Okay. Anyways, just keep going. Lesson 2, we're studying, as I remind you, Philippians, how to have joy from precept upon precept. Lesson 2 is basically going to be continuing the overview of Philippians. I want you to look for a concordance. I have this. What's just fall on the ground? This is a exhaustive concordance, Strong's. This is one of the best, especially because it's got Jesus' words highlighted. Ow. Anyway, this is also a very good book to lay on top of something that you want to have flattened for a while. If you need to get a wrinkle out of something, it works really well because it's nice and heavy. You also can go to blueletter.com, blueletterbible.org or .com, and find a concordance on there as well, which is very good. It goes off of the King James Version. I think this one does too. But it's very important to have a concordance because we're going to look up the word Philippians and Philippi, which the letter of the church of Philippians is to the church of Philippi. The Philippians being the residents thereof. Now, basically, lesson 2 is going to go over the overview. Day 1, read through Philippians again. Now, I know it seems like you've read through Philippians quite a bit so far. To look at the historical, cultural, and religious references that you've discovered. You observe that Paul is with Timothy when writing this. Now, the question there is, was Timothy with Paul at that time that this was being written, or was he writing it with Timothy because Timothy's been in Philippi, so the church knows both of them? I'm not exactly sure, but you can look yourself and discover for yourself what you want to know. The answer is, I think that there's so many crime dramas on, so many lawyer shows on, so many of that stuff, because the world, even though we don't realize it, craves mystery, craves searching for the truth. The answer is justice. It's just like, a lot of us, not everyone enjoys those shows, but we all enjoy truth. We all enjoy discovery, finding something that was lost that is found. Your car keys, or a clean diaper at the bottom of the diaper bag. Those are always good things to find. But the thing you can do is look in the book of Acts. And Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Acts is the fifth book of the New Testament. It's basically a historical book. It takes place after the book of Luke ends and continues on through the early days of the apostles into the latter days of the apostle Paul. The early days too. Goes over his conversion and everything. We'll study the book of Acts quite a bit as you get ready to overview for the book of Philippians. Next week, lesson 3, we actually get into chapter 1. But we still have a little bit to talk about Philippians. Look up Philippi and Philippians. I did, and I rediscovered that Paul was actually mistreated in Philippi when he first went there. Or he did. It was his first journey, not his first mission trip, actually his second mission trip. And it was in a city of Macedonia. That is actually one of the leading cities, Roman colony, in fact. We'll go over that a little bit later. But it was a leading city in the Macedonia district, as we read that in the book, or one of the chapters. I think it's chapters 16 in Acts and chapters 20 you'll want to go over. And 1 Thessalonians 2:2 is another passage to look up. About 49 to 51 BC, Paul decided to go on his second missionary trip to revisit some of the places he went the first time and see some new things. About 56 BC was his third trip, and we see another reference to Philippi. When I was in English in high school, my teacher, whenever we study a book or study a letter or poem, she'd give us that piece of literature to read, and then she'd give us questions to answer in order to learn better what's going on in that particular piece. She always said, summarize what you find. When you're making your notations and discoveries, and that was so that you could process the information, put in your own words, so she'd see that you actually read it and weren't just writing out cliff notes. Which, it's easier to do, but still good to read. With the Bible, it's good to write it out as the text says, because you're actually capturing the Word of God, and you're putting it in your heart and in your mind as you're studying it. You want to memorize it. I'm really bad with memorization and remembering all these facts. So it's good for me to write things down. That's why I try to journal as often as I do. I've gotten lazier about journaling as I've gotten older with the kids and everything, but I still try to keep it up because it's important to remember things, just like when you're studying the books. That's why you want to have a notepad with you as you're studying the book of Philippians, and as you study the notes in your concordance, and we'll look in commentaries too to learn more about the church. You want to know as much as you can. So day one pretty much ends right there. Just read through the book of Philippians, revisit the historical ideas there, and look up in your concordance. That is day one. We'll go ahead and jump into day 2 and answer some more questions. And I'll basically try to give you some more information on the Church of Philippi. But let me revisit these adorable shoes. Just seriously. Just don't make them more cute. I don't know why. I mean, they're just adorable. They don't like to wear them, though. Spent all summer in, 100-degree heat. We didn't really have shoes on during the day. But now it's getting colder. You need to have socks and shoes on. And little Aaron doesn't want to have her shoes on and socks on. Come on. Anyways, we'll revisit that another time. Go ahead and study the book of Philippians, and we will continue